Hi guys, I am coming to you today after being off for quite a while, and I'm sure by the title of this video you can tell why, because I've had the pleasure of meeting COVID Delta variant, and I've been out of commission for a month, a good month. I have my mic on because otherwise all you'll hear is my oxygen, because I will be on it for a little while, and I'm probably not worst case scenario, of course, but I'm here to share this experience with you. Let you know what I went through, what I wish I had done differently, and what it looked like. Hold on for a wild ride. All right, forgive me that I have my notes. I mean, I have a really good timeline because I actually had my first symptoms on October 1st. So it was really easy to kind of track everything by the dates. But nonetheless, I just want to give you a play-by-play and kind of let you know what I ran into. So end of September, very social, going out with friends, going to dinner, that kind of thing. Probably should have been more careful. I live in a tourist area, so there's a lot of people from all over the world here. And that's probably really what happened. I was just out in the public. Nobody I know is sick. Nobody I was out with is sick. It was just me. Go figure, right? All right, so my experience with COVID Delta variant. All right. Whew. It was a rough ride. So let me tell you ahead of time, I'm a very healthy person, mostly vegan, my ideal weight, swim every day, yoga a couple times a week, just in general, a healthy person. You know, all my numbers are good. My blood pressure is good. No underlying health problems, no heart disease, no diabetes, really nothing wrong. The only time I was in the hospital was when I had children, right? Like literally not a lot going on there, okay? So this is coming from a healthy person. So oddly enough, my very first symptom, which I didn't know was a symptom, was my tongue was burning one day. And it was just red and irritated. And a couple of the little buds were swollen. And I thought, I didn't eat anything spicy. What's going on here? It was really weird. It was like way past Pop Rocks. You know, it was like spicy, hot tongue burning, put ice on it to tame it. And a little tiredness that day, nothing else. So that was my day that I was probably exposed. And then 3 days later is when I had onset of symptoms. So Delta variant is 3 days. 3 days to incubate. It moves a lot faster. On that third day, which was October 1st, I had absolutely zero appetite, nothing. I just didn't know why. It's like, wow, I'm just not hungry today. Must just be my body's used to fasting. And no, that night I started running 103-degree fever. That was persistent until I was hospitalized. But we'll get there. Okay, so that first night was just symptoms of fever and fatigue and no appetite. All right, let's see. Saturday the 2nd, fever, fatigue. Oddly enough, my sinuses. So it was straight upper respiratory. My tongue had been, burning. And then all of a sudden I felt pressure and sensitivity and pain in my sinuses. And that, other than the fever, almost like you had a sinus infection, right? That was my first symptoms. And then every day it got a little bit worse. My fever was persistent. I was taking everything over the counter, which I know is bad. I was trying to be responsible. I was only taking it like in the time I was supposed to, but 24 hours a day because I wasn't, getting a lot of rest. And my fever never went under 102 in 10 days, not until I was hospitalized. My fever stayed at 103 to 102 when I was on meds. It would start climbing, about 3 hours after I take the meds. And then an hour before I take the meds, it's going to go down 1.5 degrees maybe. And then 3 hours later, it'd start climbing again, right? Okay, so After about 3 days, the congestion moved from my sinuses to my chest. And I started feeling a little shortness of breath. Wasn't extreme. I could tell when I was moving around, the fatigue was definitely there. You could tell when I was talking, my voice started to sound a little bit more raspy. I'd have to stop like I am now and take a breath every few words because my oxygen levels had already started to drop, but I was unaware of this at the time because I wasn't using a meter because I thought, I've had it before. It's not that bad. I'll be fine. I'm healthy. 3 days in, and it's moving to my chest. All right. That's about the time I did lose taste and smell, which I didn't even know. I didn't recognize. Being independent this whole time, cooking for myself. Well, maybe not after 3 days. I think after 3 days, people were bringing food to me. And I'm in isolation, by the way. I was responsible. From the first moment of onset of symptoms, I was in isolation. The people that brought me food and groceries left it at the front door. So I was not going to in any way expose anybody else. But I did lose taste and smell and developed a dry cough. Actually had somebody ask me if I lost my taste and smell. And I was like, what? And so I had a garlic in front of me that was taken for the antiviral, use for it. And I started chewing on the garlic. I was like, nope, can't taste a thing. I'm like, nope, I can't smell a thing. I'm like, oh, crap. I've lost my taste and smell. And that's when onset of my dry cough came. So that was about day 5. So it was a dry cough too. So I thought, oh, it's a dry cough. That's better than a wet cough, I thought. And then every day, same thing, fever, fatigue, dry cough, loss of taste and smell. My appetite was going. So on day 8, I went to the doctor. I made an appointment. I made an appointment on day 6. They couldn't see me until day 8. Isn't that great? Like, I have COVID. I need the antibodies. Could I please have an appointment? Sure, we'll see you in a few days, right? Yeah, that I would change. I would have just went to see a different doctor. So I did get the monoclonal antibodies on day 8 and an IV vitamin bag and started on the normal protocol of steroids and antibiotics and things like that, all over pills, their prescriptions. And then at that point, I could tell that my lungs were compromised, and the doctor also had prescribed me oxygen. But my local oxygen company wasn't going to deliver it for like 3 days. So I had a pharmacy that wasn't going to give me some of my meds. And I had an oxygen company who had decided that I wasn't worthy of getting oxygen over the weekend because I was cash pay. I don't have good insurance, so I don't get my oxygen. Yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens. All right. So I did that on day 8. Day 9, I'm still home after treatment, getting worse. I did buy, or actually a neighbor bought me an oxygen meter, and I could see that my oxygen was still dropping steadily. I didn't have any oxygen yet, and I wasn't getting better, and I got scared. So in the morning of day 10, I went to the hospital and had a neighbor bring me, thank God, and they said, yeah, you have pneumonia. You have full-blown COVID pneumonia. And they admitted me instantly and put me on the COVID protocol and started trying to work with the fact that I had low oxygen levels, hypoxia, and needed to be treated immediately, right? IVs everywhere. And they did. And let's see what happened when I was there. Well, this is very traditional. This COVID does follow a path. And so on day 9, 10, I'm in the hospital, starting the protocol. Actually, 11 and 12, days 11 and 12, I start feeling better. They actually take me off oxygen on day 12 for about 12 hours, and I'm doing better. Day 13, which is the magic day, everything shuts down. My lungs and everything get so much worse, the inflammation. And day 13 seems to be a big day. It seems to be one of those days where it just happens. So that is exactly what happened to me. On day 13, my fatigue just went through the floor because my oxygen levels went like down in the 50s and 60s, if you could imagine that. Why? Well, now they tell me it was the inflammation. It's actually the inflammation in my lungs from the COVID. But at the time, I couldn't understand it because the day before I was feeling better. And then day 13, so all my other symptoms are getting better. And then on day 13, my lungs just took a turn for the worst. And that is very common, I was told. Let's see, after that, I noticed some really interesting things with this COVID pneumonia and the hypoxia, or the low oxygen. And one of the big ones was insomnia. You can't sleep with low oxygen. It's impossible. I think in the whole week I was in the hospital, I slept an hour a night at best. I think I literally just passed out from fatigue. And then as soon as, my body decided, I was awake again. It was the longest week of my life. Also, with hypoxia or low blood oxygen, you have ringing in the ears, and it gets louder as your oxygen drops. So that was a new one for me. I didn't realize that it actually changed with the hypoxia. So be aware of those symptoms. That was an interesting one, right? I didn't have the ringing in the ears until the hypoxia, until my oxygen dropped to a really, really low levels. Let's see. All right. So day 13 and 14, I am down for the count. I mean, I'm forcing myself to sit up, literally like psyching myself up. You can do this. You got this. You'll get through this. And I'm pushing myself to get better and telling myself I'll get better, and just literally willing myself out of the hospital bed and telling myself I will not be in this hospital bed, and getting and sitting in the chair and going to the bathroom every hour by myself, and willing myself to be able to do it. I knew I had to do that. You have to pull that in from inside. And though I had a lot of support from friends and family on the outside, which really, is, you have to have that too, but you have to have it on the inside. And I did. I pushed myself and pushed myself. So by Thursday, the 15th, I'm feeling stronger. I can tell I am feeling a little stronger. The oxygen levels at that point, they had me on like 3 liters. And Thursday they drop it down to like 2, and they have a system of dropping it down by halves. And then by Friday I'm down to 1.5 liters of oxygen, and I'm feeling a lot better. And so I don't think I can go home and be completely independent, but I know I can go home. So Saturday I was released from the hospital. So Saturday the 17th, I was released from the hospital for home care. And by grace, I did have home care. I had family and friends to help take care of me, because at that point, my oxygen levels would drop every time I would move. So I would get up and go to the bathroom, come sit back down, and it would take 5 minutes for my oxygen levels to go back up while I'm on oxygen. By the way, not trying to do it without oxygen. Literally, while I'm on oxygen, just moving drops it considerably, because my lungs are still healing, right? All right, so let's see. On day 18, the whole next week while I'm home, my oxygen levels have been continuing to improve, and I'm down to a 0.5 liter of oxygen throughout the day to keep my oxygen levels in the 90s. And then I have to have 1 liter at night, because otherwise I have insomnia. So 1 liter at night, then my oxygen levels stay in the high 90s, and I can actually sleep. And then a 0.5 liter during the day. And I'm able now to take my cannula off long enough to take like a 10-minute shower. But at the end of that 10-minute shower, my oxygen levels are like 90 again. And I have to sit down and, rest and let my oxygen levels get back up again. So everything improved. Insomnia improved. Fatigue is improving. I have a lot more energy. It's been a month, but as you can see, I did my hair today. I did my makeup, and I'm shooting a video. So but it has been a solid month. All right, let's see. I'm cooking my own meals, which are not gourmet. I'm just making like pre-made pizzas in the oven and soup, but I'm doing it for myself. So that's actually, after a month of not being able to do that, that's a big deal. All right, let's see. I am still on oxygen. I am rebuilding my physical strength. I am completely symptom free. I say that as I cough, except my lungs are still healing, and because my low oxygen, I am weaker. I have weakness. I lost 10 pounds during the time. And so I lost muscle, which also is the muscle tone around your lungs and your diaphragm, I learned. So there's exercises that you do, and I'll post a video on those things, but to rebuild that strength, because you really do, or you may jeopardize ever having it again. You really have to work it in order and use resistance. So I'll share that too. And let's see. So yeah, otherwise symptom free now. My smell came back in the hospital. My smell and taste came back in the hospital during treatment. So that was awesome. Even though I still was too weak to eat, which, you just have to use a meal replacement shake and stuff at that point because you need nutrients, but my body was just too weak to chew. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? So what I have learned now, a month in, is it'll probably be a few more weeks for me on oxygen, slowly weaning myself, and I'll share in a video how I'm doing that. And but I'm not going to jeopardize my lung health. I'm taking my time and I'm letting them heal. I mean, I still have huge bruises from all the injections and stuff from the hospital. So if I still have huge bruises in my body showing me, just flesh damage, then imagine after having pneumonia that my lungs are going to need a little love and care in order to get better. So I'm not going to jeopardize that by trying to rush it. Would I like to be off oxygen? Would I like to be back to swimming 50 laps a day? Of course. Yeah, of course I would. And I will be. But I'm going to give my body time so that I don't have any long haul symptoms. I'm going to give my body the time, the health, the nutrients that it needs, and I'm going to let myself heal. Allow myself the grace to heal. So that was my wild ride from a healthy young 50s. And I hope it enlightens you. If you have questions, please ask. I will be glad to answer anything that I know that I can help you with. And I will definitely post more videos showing my experience, because one thing I found out was there wasn't a lot of information out there. And I know there's a lot of information about COVID, but my questions weren't being answered. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys just a play-by-play, So I did that, and I will see you guys again soon.